Like what is it
Why be
about?
the biggest artist in the world on YouTube? Why wouldn't J. Cole do a song with him?
That's true.
Like, come on, bro. You ain't never in your life sold more record than this boy. This young man. What you thinking? Like, tripping. Just be on that. Oh, I don't like your music. Or I ain't doing no music with you. Man, they don't like y'all music. You don't really like that shit come out. That shit niggas come out. Niggas just want to do songs. Niggas just want, like, it's the game we in. Like, it ain't no, oh, the Atlanta Falcons ain't playing Miami Dolphins because they don't like the Dolphins. Man, we playing everybody. It's the sport we in.
Right.
André 3000, you one of the biggest artists in the world. You became one of the biggest artists in the world. But you ain't help nobody. You ain't put nobody on. Now you vintage. Now you goddamn can't put out a song and go top 50. You see what I'm saying? You put a song out right now, you can't even go top 50.
Right.
But you the biggest artist in the entire world at one point. But you ain't put nobody on though. You ain't did that, man. They got a career off of you.
That's true.
Like y'all nigga ain't help nobody. All that rap shit don't mean nothing, man. In 15 years, 10, 15 years, that shit don't mean nothing.
When a jail call from Young Thug surfaced, one moment stood out beyond the noise of his legal battles and industry politics. In the call, Thug directed frustration toward two of hip-hop's most respected figures, J. Cole and André 3000, accusing them of failing to extend collaboration to NBA YoungBoy, who is statistically the most dominant rap artist on YouTube. This sentiment didn't just expose a personal grievance. It cracked open a larger debate about generational divides, gatekeeping, and the definition of what it truly means to support the culture. Young Thug's words, emotional and unfiltered, carried an underlying theme. He viewed YoungBoy as a once-in-a-lifetime talent whose global reach had gone largely unacknowledged by hip-hop's elder statesmen. To Thug, this wasn't about whether one artist liked another's music. It was about responsibility, the idea that when you hold legendary status, your influence should be used to nurture those who are reshaping the landscape. In his eyes, Cole and André represented icons who benefited from being embraced in their early years, yet they weren't returning the same energy toward the new generation's most explosive figure. The numbers validate Thug's point about YoungBoy. Few artists have dominated YouTube like him. With billions of views, endless uploads, and a fiercely loyal fanbase, his output dwarfs most of his peers. Whether or not industry tastemakers embrace him, his presence online is undeniable. That dominance, however, hasn't translated into the traditional forms of validation. Awards bodies overlook him, radio rarely supports him, and collaborations with hip-hop's conscious royalty have been non-existent. For Thug, this absence isn't just oversight, it's betrayal. J. Cole has long positioned himself as an artist deeply connected to the streets, the youth, and those who don't feel represented by mainstream institutions. His middle child branding leaned heavily into the idea of bridging the gap between legends and up-and-comers. Yet Young Thug's frustration exposes a gap in that narrative. If Cole's mission is to uplift the next generation, then why not extend a hand to the artist who has redefined online dominance? It raises the uncomfortable question of whether Cole's interest in mentoring stops at those who stylistically or politically align with him. André 3000 represents a different type of absence. For decades, he's been idolized not just for his contributions as one half of Outkast, but for the aura of artistic purity surrounding him. He rarely collaborates, rarely records, and has chosen to live in the shadow of his legacy rather than actively shaping the culture's present. While that choice has been framed as artistic integrity, Thug's words highlight another angle. What if that detachment is actually neglect? For someone who was once hailed as the face of innovation, André's refusal to engage with the new wave could be interpreted not as selectivity, but as abandonment of the culture's future leaders. Thug's criticism carries added weight because of his own history of collaboration. Few major rappers have been as willing as him to share their platform with younger or less established artists. His track record shows a consistent belief that cross-generational collaboration elevates everyone involved. In that context, his disappointment in Cole and André is not just personal frustration, it's a reflection of his philosophy that gatekeeping stifles progress. At the same time, there's an irony in Thug's position. He is speaking from a jail cell, a man whose career is at the mercy of a court system that has already derailed his trajectory. The urgency in his voice might not just be about YoungBoy, but about legacy itself. With his own contributions to hip-hop now in jeopardy, he is forcing a conversation about whether the greats of today are doing enough to ensure the next generation has space to thrive. For Thug, Cole, and André aren't just individuals, they're symbols of a broader complacency among those who already hold their spots in history. The cultural divide here is striking. On one side are artists like YoungBoy, who dominate digital platforms, feed their fans daily, and redefine success outside of traditional industry channels. On the other side are figures like Cole and André, who embody artistry, critical acclaim, and a slower, more curated approach to music. To some, these worlds feel incompatible. But Thug's argument suggests the opposite. Their coexistence should be essential. The refusal to collaborate isn't just a missed opportunity for a song, it's a fracture in hip-hop's continuity. Still, Thug's argument isn't without flaws. Cole and André may not see collaboration as a moral obligation. Cole has been selective about who he works with, and André has all but retired. To demand that they attach their names to YoungBoy could ignore their own artistic freedom. Furthermore, YoungBoy's controversies, legal troubles, and raw style may not align with their values. For Cole, who's built a brand around introspection and social commentary, linking with YoungBoy might dilute his message. For André, it could represent a move that conflicts with his long-standing refusal to participate in the industry machine. Yet even with those counterpoints, Thug's broader critique resonates because it taps into a real frustration among fans. Hip-hop has always been about passing the torch. From cosigns to collaborations, the culture has thrived on a system of mentorship. When that system breaks down, younger artists are forced to build empires in isolation. YoungBoy has done exactly that, but the lack of recognition from figures like Cole and André has created a narrative that exists outside the real rap canon, even as his numbers dwarf nearly everyone else. In this sense, Thug's jail call functions as both a lament and a warning. He is calling out two giants not to discredit their achievements, but to remind them that their influence is meaningless if it doesn't extend to those shaping the present. His words challenge hip-hop to reconsider what legacy really means. Is it about protecting your own brand, or about using your position to lift others? For fans, the leaked call only adds to the mythology of Young Thug, an artist who, even while incarcerated, continues to stir debate about the culture's direction. It also places new scrutiny on J. Cole and André 3000, forcing them to reckon with whether their choices reflect support for the culture's future or retreat from it. What's clear is that the conversation sparked by the call isn't just about one collaboration. It's about hip-hop's identity in an era where digital dominance and cultural validation often exist on separate islands. Thug, in his blunt and emotional critique, exposed the uncomfortable truth. If the legends don't engage with the new generation, the culture risks splintering into isolated kingdoms where influence and respect no longer overlap. And perhaps that's the tragedy in Thug's voice, a realization that the bridges between eras are crumbling, and no one seems willing to rebuild them.